They say crowds are safe. You disappear into them, like a drop into the ocean. Last night I learned a worse truth. A crowd is the perfect place to be chosen, because no one will believe you were the only one who saw it. I was at a late campus film festival in the old auditorium, the kind with velvet seats and a ceiling mural of angels flaking into dust. Students were chattering, program booklets snapping, phones lighting up like fireflies as everyone hunted for a good seat. I found one near the aisle. Easy exit, I told myself, because I always sit close to doors. I didn't know I'd be measuring exits like lifelines. When the lights dimmed, a hush fell the way it only can in a room full of strangers agreeing to pretend they're together. The projector coughed, the sound system whined, and somewhere a bag of candy exploded with plastic crackles. That was when the temperature around me licked cold, not breeze cold, cellar cold. The tiny hairs on my arms stood up. Goose flesh crawled like frost under my shirt. I turned to the aisle and saw the usher. At first glance, he was just a staff volunteer in a red blazer, holding a weak flashlight, head bowed. But his head didn't lift the way heads do. It slid, chin rising, face following in a slow delay, like he'd forgotten how to hinge. The light fell across his features, and everything in me recoiled. The eyes were too far apart, the nose too low, the mouth stretched wider with each inch it opened, as if the smile were a wound tugged by invisible fingers. He leaned toward the couple in front of me. They didn't look at him. They didn't even flinch when his flashlight beam passed over their knees. My heart started pounding, louder than the film's opening credits. Boom, boom, boom. I could feel it in my throat, a rope pulled tight. "Excuse me?" I whispered. "Because that's what you do when something isn't real. Test it quietly." He turned toward me. The flashlight clicked off. The auditorium went black, except for the white bloom on the screen. The usher's face, if face is the word, was a smear of misarranged parts, as if features were magnets that couldn't decide where to stick. Cold rolled over my scalp and down my neck in a single shiver. I gripped the armrest until my knuckles burned. My breath shortened. The crowd around me laughed at something on screen. The laugh swelled and swallowed me, and I hated how little it cared. He took one step down the aisle. The carpet didn't indent. Another step. The beam from the projector sliced shadows across him, and where his shadow should have fallen, it bent toward the stage like the light was worshiping him. He stopped at my row, tilting that too-heavy head, and I smelled something like wet velvet and old pennies. "Tickets, please," he said. Not loud, not a threat, but the words scraped, like they had to claw their way out of a throat that wasn't built for speech. My mouth went dry. I fumbled with my program, with my wristband, with anything in my hands that could prove I belonged among the living. The paper slipped from my sweaty fingers. He leaned closer. The cold deepened until my teeth ached. The beam on the screen flickered. The angels on the ceiling looked like they were squinting. Why me? I wanted to ask, but my brain asked something else. Is this punishment? And the memory arrived. Uninvited. Complete. Sophomore year. A friend, call her M, stood at the edge of a rumor I started as a joke. I didn't correct it, not even when it stuck. I watched her distance grow, then watched her leave the club we both loved. I never apologized. I told myself it would be worse to bring it up. I told myself time would dissolve it. Time didn't. It calcified. "Tickets, please," the usher repeated, and when his mouth stretched, I saw too many teeth. Not fangs, just extra, a surplus of bite. My voice cracked. "I'm sorry," I said, but not to him. He straightened. The flashlight clicked on without moving his thumb. Its beam skimmed my wristband and kept going, though I swear the light hesitated, like a cat about to pounce, but deciding to watch instead. Then he drifted down the aisle, past row after row of faces that didn't turn, didn't flinch, didn't see. The cold followed him like a cloak being tugged. On screen, a character screamed. The crowd laughed. Phones lit up. Someone tossed a kernel of popcorn that hit the back of my head. I stared at the usher until he reached the stage, slipped along the curtain like smoke, and disappeared where the wall wasn't broken. The film ended. The applause felt obscene. I stumbled into the lobby's yellow light and leaned against a granite column, feeling my sweat go clammy in the air. I called my sister. I told her what I thought I'd seen. She told me to get sleep, to stop doom scrolling, to eat something green. "It was an usher," she said. "Some dude in a costume. You're stressed. Maybe, maybe not." Because last night, alone in my room, As the building's heat clanked off and the city's hum faded, the temperature fell again, all at once. The darkness pressed against my face. In that pressure was a whisper that wasn't air. "Tickets, please." It curled into my ear like a receipt being fed into a machine. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more bone-chilling chronicles. Join us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky for more. If you dare.